We were 19, just graduated with nothing to our names, still living in our parents' houses, but partying like we owned the joint. He asked me for a ride home, so I gave him a ride. Once, twice, three times, and then we started hanging out outside of the car. We would end up at the same parties, living our best lavish lives together, enjoying the same company, laughing at the same jokes, drinking the same booze. I was crushing hard, and I knew he was too after he'd kissed me. It was casual, nothing exciting, just hanging out in the basement of his friend's house while he smoked meth, and I, luckily, just watched. I used to smell it on his breath while hooking up on the mattress that sat on the ground in the spare bedroom. I don't know if it was so much the meth or the lack of moisture in his mouth, but either way, at the time, I thought it smelled sweet. Now when I think of it, it makes me want to fucking gag. The experiments he performed amazed me. He would take oxys and turn them into pure gold. It was his way of getting fucked up without dying of an overdose. He used to crush up his finely selected opiate, put it in a coffee filter, and pour warm water through it. Over and over and over until you had feel-good juice. It was so good that we didn't mind living in shit. Pretty soon, heroin found us. She was the magical fairy that made us all think that feelings were easy and problems were only an illusion. Watching him sit in the bathtub naked, throwing up from withdrawing, it never changed my mind about any of it. I wanted to be cool like him. I wanted to be rigid. I wanted to be fearless. Years, apartments, even a house. We did the whole thing, made it official, and took selfies on vacation like some normal couple. I used to act like he wasn't high at Christmas, and he would act like I was eating. It was a symbiosis like no other, parasites leeching off of each other to survive. I got my finger sized for an engagement ring, we got a dog, a Christmas tree, decor that started with the first letter of his last name. It looked so nice from the outside. I could manage that. I played wife until he spent every last dime we had. I pretended until he stopped holding up his end of the deal. After that, he wasn't eating pills anymore. After that, he knew it was interfering with his life, and I stopped taking pills too. Pictures of myself around this time are painful. You can see the emptiness in my eyes. We went through the motions for 6 months. He lived with me. He ate with me. He slept with me. And for 6 of those months, he was completely lying to my face every day. He knew all the right things to say.
I'm really sorry for anything that I said or did that scared you or pushed you away. I love you.
At this point, everything was a secret. And I was isolated from every single person that ever loved me. I couldn't even have a conversation with my mom about him or his drug use without him yelling at me. I remember looking for Tylenol or something simple like that before a friend and I went out. Instead, I found hydros and oxys and methadone broken into pieces like they had been nibbled on. My heart sank, but I wasn't surprised. My friend disclosed to me that he had watched him take pills while I was gone. Just enough so that I wouldn't notice. I kicked him out, but you know how those things go. We were back together within a week, and shortly after that, he was downstairs smoking meth all over again. This time, he wasn't so open about it, and I found out after I recognized that smell. He was caught in another lie, and still, I stayed. Yeah, I stayed, and for a month straight, I fucking cried. I cried because I knew what was happening. I knew he was eating me alive, and I didn't know what to do. I loved him so much, and ultimately, I just didn't want him to die. He was so fucked up, and all I wanted was for him to wake up the next day, whether I was there or not. Our lease was up at the house, and the day I started separating my stuff from his, it finally became clear. I wanted out, and I wanted out that day. I kissed him goodbye for work, and no one knew what was about to happen. I certainly didn't. We moved everything, and as I sobbed and screamed and pushed shit up the steepest stairway I have ever seen, I gained resiliency. In a single day, I decided to leave my 3-year relationship, and I never looked back. It's been 3 years since I left, and he still haunts me. He never beat me. He never told me I was nothing without him. He just expected me to make him feel better. He wanted to be the most important thing about my day. He wanted me to carry him through life because he knew I was capable. And at the beginning, I was so complimented by that. I was honored to be his better half because society told me that that was my job. I needed to make up for his shortcomings and not expect a single thing in return. I still look back and think, it wasn't that bad. Our society has dismissed emotional abuse and has categorized drug use, isolation, and longevity, even in toxic relationships, as romantic. I was the danger. I unraveled. How many women unravel and stay because they don't see another option? No alternative, no way out, no understanding of why they've gained all that weight, cry every day, and yell at sales clerks just to feel some kind of release. We are expected to make our men better. We are expected to care and love and help others. But the world turns a blind eye when we become mentally bombarded. If your friend enters into a relationship with someone that you don't like or partakes in a behavior that you don't approve of, please don't leave. Keep yourself safe, but please, don't leave them. I would be nowhere without the humans who stuck around. If you or someone you know feels like their partner is constantly lying, isolating, jealous, or dependent on them or you for survival, please know that these are forms of emotional abuse. For more information and more resources, visit nesaap.org.